This isn't the first time, is it? The first time you told yourself, never again. The first time you felt the sting of regret and swore you'd learn, grow, change. But here you are again. Same place, different day, different face. You keep walking into the same storm, expecting it to be gentler this time. You blame your luck, you blame others, you even blame yourself. But nothing changes. Because it's not just bad luck, it's not just other people, it's not even just your fault. It's deeper than that. There's a script playing behind your eyes, a pattern older than memory, a quiet loop that pulls you back, even when you swear you're done. And no matter how far you run, it follows you. Because the problem isn't out there, it's in you. And Carl Jung saw it all, the hidden forces, the old wounds, the parts of yourself you buried so long ago, you forgot they ever existed. But they didn't forget you. And until you face them, you'll keep repeating, over and over, and over again. You always promise yourself it'll be different this time. You'll finally walk away. You'll finally speak up. You'll finally stop chasing what doesn't want you. But somehow, you end up right back here. Same argument, same apology, same habit, same shame. You make plans, you write it down, you feel the fire for a day, a week, and then it fades. You fall back into the scroll, the cycle, the silence, back into the arms of someone who doesn't see you, back into the version of you that you swore you'd buried. And you don't understand why. You're not stupid, you're not lazy, you're not broken, but something keeps pulling you down. Something old, something invisible, something that whispers, this is who you are. So you believe it, and the loop continues. Carl Jung had a name for this. He saw it not as failure, but as a message. And until you understand that message, the pattern will keep repeating. Because what you're fighting isn't outside of you. It's you. You're tired. Not the kind of tired that sleep can fix. The kind that sits in your chest. Heavy, wordless. You don't know how you got here again. You just know it's not where you want it to be. You try to make sense of it. Was it something you missed? A wrong turn? A wrong person? Doing the same things, hoping something changes, but not really believing it will. You scroll, you smile when you need to, you laugh when it's expected. But underneath it all, you're waiting for something, or someone, to finally explain why you keep ending up here. And maybe, just maybe, you're starting to realize no one is coming. Carl Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. This isn't fate, it's the echo of something unresolved. And it's time to listen. Most people hear the name Carl Jung and think of psychology, textbooks, therapy, dreams, and symbols. But Jung was never just a psychologist. He wasn't just a thinker. He was a wanderer, a man who dared to look where others closed their eyes. He didn't run from darkness, he walked into it. While others chased success and certainty, Jung sat with chaos. He listened to the voices no one wanted to hear, not just in others, but in himself. He called it the shadow, the part of you you deny, reject, bury, but also your power. Most people never meet their shadow. They feel it in the mistakes they keep making, in the people they keep choosing, in the silence they can't explain. But Jung didn't just feel it, he faced it, he mapped it, and he paid the price for knowing what most would rather forget. You think you're choosing, that you're in control, that the decisions you make, where you go, who you love, what you chase, are yours. But what if they aren't? What if most of what you call choice is just reaction? Jung believed that we are haunted by what we haven't faced. And until we face it, it moves us. Silently, invisibly, like a hand just behind your shoulder, guiding you back to the same people, the same mistakes, the same pain. You call it coincidence, you call it fate, but it's not. It's your shadow, pulling the strings. The shadow doesn't scream, it doesn't beg, it waits. And when you're tired, when you're unaware, it takes the wheel. You wake up 10 years later in a life you didn't build. You inherited it from your pain. This is the invisible hand, and until you see it, it will keep guiding you away from who you could be and back to who you've always been. There's a part of you you've never met. You don't see it, you don't hear it, but it shapes almost everything you do. Carl Jung called it the unconscious. Jung didn't see the unconscious as a weakness. He saw it as the rest of you, the half you've ignored, the part that still cries when you smile, the part that still remembers when you've forgotten. It doesn't want control. It wants to be heard. It wants integration, not war. But most people fight it, deny it, call it nonsense. You tell yourself, this time will be different. You change your job. You leave the relationship. You move to a new city. You cut your hair. You read the self-help books. You start again. But then, the same fears come back. The same arguments. The same quiet loneliness. And you wonder, why does it always end like this? It's because you never left. Not really. You changed the wallpaper, but the room stayed the same. Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. That's not poetry. That's a diagnosis. You are not free just because you're moving. True freedom isn't running from what hurt you. It's facing it, looking it in the eye, and asking, why are you still here? Until then, you're not acting. You're reenacting. There's a side of you don't show the world, not because it's evil, but because you've been taught to fear it. The part that gets jealous, the part that craves power, the part that still remembers being humiliated, the part that secretly enjoys the failure of others. Carl Jung called this the shadow, not a monster, not a demon, just the unaccepted. It's the part of you that's been pushed away, into silence, into denial, into the basement of your mind. You call it a mistake, a bad decision, a lapse in judgment, an accident. You tell yourself, it just happened. It won't happen again. It was out of my control. But what if it wasn't? What if the mistake was a message, one you were meant to hear but kept ignoring? Carl Jung didn't believe in random behavior. To him, the psyche speaks in patterns. And when we don't listen, it speaks louder. Again, and again, and again. That argument you keep having? Not a coincidence. That relationship that ends the same way? Not bad luck. That habit you can't break? Not just weakness. These aren't accidents. They're signals. Signals that something inside you, a belief, a fear, a wound, is shaping your life behind the scenes. The mistake is not the enemy. The repetition is not the failure. The real danger is the silence. The refusal to stop and ask, what is this trying to tell me? Your psyche is not against you. It's trying to show you what you're not seeing, trying to bring the unconscious to light. And every mistake is a flash, a chance to look closer. But most people turn away. They blame others. They numb out. They start over without learning. So the message gets buried, and the cycle continues. Mistakes aren't accidents. They're invitations. To wake up, to examine, to change. And until you accept that invitation, you will keep meeting the same moment wearing a different face. Not all trauma is loud. Sometimes it's a voice that didn't answer when you called, a look that told you, you're too much, a moment where you needed comfort and got silence. No shouting, no scars, just absence, just confusion, just a child trying to make sense of a world that didn't explain itself. And that child still lives inside you, still trying to earn approval, still afraid of being rejected, still trying to be perfect enough, quiet enough, good enough to feel safe. We grow up, but that early code doesn't just vanish. It becomes the script, a loop, subtle but powerful. You pick people who mirror what you knew. You chase validation like oxygen. You sabotage anything that feels too peaceful because peace was never familiar. This is trauma's quiet trick, not to hurt you violently, but to teach you what normal is, and then trap you in it. Carl Jung understood this. He knew that if you didn't look at the child in the mirror, if you didn't go back and understand who was hurt and how, then your present self would keep bleeding from wounds it couldn't even name. You'd blame the world. You'd blame yourself. But the loop isn't about blame. It's about recognition. Carl Jung didn't believe your past just goes away. He believed it stays with you, like food you never finished chewing, undigested, unprocessed, still sitting there, beneath everything you call you. That moment you were dismissed, that time you were humiliated, the day you were made to feel small for wanting too much or not being enough. It didn't vanish. It sank, and it waits. He called it the wounded child, the part of you that never got to speak, never got to scream, never got to heal. It's not dramatic. It doesn't throw fits. It whispers. In your relationships, in your fears, in the way you chase love, avoid conflict, sabotage good things, or settle for less. It's still you, just the version of you that froze years ago. You moved on, you got older, you learned how to act like everything's fine. But deep inside, that child is still holding their breath, still waiting for the moment it will finally feel safe enough to exhale. And unless you turn around, unless you go back and face what you tried to forget, that pain becomes your identity. It shapes your choices. It filters your thoughts. It becomes the lens through which you see the world and yourself. Jung didn't say this to scare you. He said it to wake you. Because you're not broken. You're just carrying pieces that were never given a chance to grow. And they're not asking for much. Only this: to be seen, to be understood, to finally be digested. You keep making the same mistake, and it's starting to feel personal, like something in you is broken. You tell yourself, this time will be different. But it never is. The same pattern, the same regret, the same quiet shame that follows after. But Carl Jung would say, you're not crazy. You're not weak. You're just still 7 years old inside. Still waiting. Still hoping. Still standing in a moment that never truly ended. Maybe it was the first time you felt abandoned, or betrayed, or made to believe that love had to be earned, not given. You think you've moved on. But the truth is, you're still stuck in that one scene, still replaying it over and over. With different faces, different places, same wound. And deep down, some part of you believes, if I can just get it right this time, if I can make them stay, if I can finally be good enough, maybe it'll end differently. But it never does. Because you're not living forward, you're looping backward. You don't keep repeating the mistake because you're foolish. You repeat it because a child inside you is still looking for a resolution to a story that never got an ending. And until that child is heard, until that scene is faced, you'll keep living inside it. No matter how old you grow, you don't see the world as it is. You see it through the lens of your wounds. That's not philosophy. That's psychology. Carl Jung called it projection. It's when you take something hidden inside yourself and throw it onto someone else, like a shadow you can't stand to see in the mirror. You don't notice you're doing it, It feels real. You think they are selfish, they are cold, they are the problem. But the truth is, you might be looking at a ghost, your ghost. That thing you hate in other people? It might be something you've buried in yourself, something too painful to admit, too uncomfortable to hold. So your mind does something clever. It points outward. It finds someone else to carry what you can't. It says, that person's arrogant. But maybe you've silenced your own voice too long. That person's manipulative. But maybe you've never felt safe enough to be honest about your needs. That person's weak. But maybe that's exactly how you feel inside, and can't bear to admit it. Projection is a trick of the unconscious. It's your pain dressed up in someone else's clothes. But here's the cost. As long as you keep blaming the outside world, you'll never see what's hiding inside. You'll fight shadows, judge strangers, destroy relationships, and never get any closer to the truth. Jung said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. But that only happens when you're willing to look within, to ask, what part of me is hiding in the thing I hate? What ghost is showing up, wearing someone else's face?" Some people get under your skin fast. They say one thing, and suddenly your heart races. You feel defensive, angry, small. But why? You barely know them. And yet, something about them hurts you. Carl Jung believed that the people who trigger us aren't random. They're mirrors, not reflecting who they are, but showing you something about yourself, something you've denied, something you've repressed, something you've refused to face. It's uncomfortable, because that means every sharp edge in someone else might be an echo of a crack in you. You think it's just another bad choice, just another failure, just another mistake. But look closer, feel closer. This isn't random. This isn't chance. This isn't fate throwing dice. It's personal. It's precise. It knows your name. The mistake keeps showing up in the exact shape of your oldest wounds. Not because the world is cruel, but because you haven't finished listening. It's not just a failed relationship. It's the echo of the first time you felt unworthy of love. It's not just procrastination. It's the voice in your head that told you, if you try and fail, you'll prove you're not enough. It's not just picking the wrong people. It's the belief that this is all you deserve. Because it's intimate. It speaks the language of your past. It remembers things your mind forgot, but your body didn't. And every time it returns, it doesn't come to break you. It comes to wake you, to ask, are you ready to stop repeating and start remembering? Not remembering what went wrong, but remembering who you were before the world taught you to forget. This mistake isn't a stranger. It's the part of you that still wants to be seen, still wants to be understood, still wants to be healed. You've been told to heal, to fix yourself, to rise above, to become whole. But Carl Jung saw something deeper. He didn't speak about healing like cleaning a wound until it's invisible. He spoke about integration, about learning to live with the wound, not as a weakness, but as part of your strength. You don't stop repeating mistakes by hating the parts of you that caused them. You stop when you finally ask, why did those parts exist at all? That jealous version of you. Was it born cruel or just scared of being forgotten? That angry voice in your head. Was it evil? Or was it protecting a younger you who never felt heard? The part of you that sabotaged love, ran from help, chased chaos, chose pain. It wasn't trying to destroy you. It was trying to make sense of the world the only way it knew how. Maybe it learned that love meant begging. Maybe it learned that safety meant silence. Maybe it learned that pain was normal and peace was foreign. So it kept choosing what felt familiar, even if it hurt. You have to ask, what was I trying to protect? What was I trying to avoid? What was I hoping for? And when you listen, really listen, you'll see that those parts weren't villains. They were messengers, fragments, pages of your story that never got read. So don't rip them out. Read them. Understand them. That's where change begins. Not with hate, but with honest compassion for who you were when you didn't know better. And from that place, you can finally begin to choose different. No advice, no answers, no next steps, just you. And this moment. Heavy, quiet, full. Can you feel it? That echo inside your chest, not quite pain, not quite clarity, just something waking up. No one's coming to explain it. There's no line to cross, no bell to ring to say, you've healed. Just this pause. Can you sit with it? Can you sit with the weight of your own patterns, your own wounds, your own truths? Can you resist the urge to scroll, to run, to fix, to numb? Not everything broken needs a solution. Some things just need to be seen. So breathe. Don't solve. Don't label. Don't rush. Let it haunt you. Let it whisper. And if it's quiet enough, maybe you'll finally hear the part of you that's been begging for your attention. Not to change it, not to silence it, just to be with it. That's all for now. Just sit and listen. So now we turn the mirror, not toward the world, not toward your past, but toward you. No more distractions, no more noise, just the quiet reflection of everything you've avoided. The patterns you call accidents, the chaos you blame on others, the loop you swear is just bad luck. Look closer. Who keeps showing up in those moments? Who's the common thread in every heartbreak, every failure, every silent regret? It's you. Not to shame, not to punish, but to reveal. Because maybe, just maybe, the monster in the dark isn't some curse chasing you. It's the part of you you've refused to face, the pain you buried, the truth you softened, the wound you wore like armor. And now, there's no one left to lie to, no one left to impress, just you. And this question, what have you been refusing to see? Sit with it. Let it sting. Let it breathe. Because nothing changes until you do. If this hit home, drop a comment. Subscribe to The Thought Foundry. Take care of your mind, and I'll see you in the next dive.